People say like, oh, like social media is not for them. Um, it's really not going to be the case. Businesses won't be able to survive if they don't adopt video, if they don't adopt social media. It's kind of like a virtual, lobby, I guess. It's a virtual world where you can really grow relationships at scale. You can make personal connections without personally having to meet them. You and I have never met, but here we are feeling like we've known each other, and we very much do know each other through digitally, but very much real nonetheless. And I think when you start thinking about it like that, you're going to be putting yourself at a major disadvantage if you're not taking advantage of those opportunities to amplify your reach, get your message out, cultivate those relationships. Your customers are already expecting it. You look at consumer tech. Every time you buy one of these, you're going to watch a few videos before you actually make that purchase.
Right.
And then you go into work and then it's not going to be the same. No, they're going to expect that same experience for manufacturing, for industrial side of tech. So that's really where I saw a huge void in the market.
Welcome to IndustrialSage, a free video podcast series all about digital marketing for industrial manufacturers. Hear interviews with your peers and find out how they're solving the same challenges that you might be facing in your own field. Coming to you from the Optimum Production Studio in Atlanta, Georgia, this is IndustrialSage.
All right, so let's jump in today's episode. Today I got a guest all the way from California. I've got Zack Scriven. Thank you so much for joining us. He's here from Zack Scriven Media. Zack, thank you for joining.
Danny, thank you for having me on the show, man.
Absolutely. Now, a little side note, he was trying to make it out here in person. It didn't work out, but that's okay. It looks like he's got a really nice setup, got a nice, crystal clear view coming in. He's got the nice podcasting mic, so this is good. This is really good. I'm excited about this. So Zack, for those who aren't familiar with who you are, you got a really interesting story. I'd just love for you to just kind of introduce yourself. Tell me like your background, what we talked about a couple days ago, and what you're doing now.
Yeah. So I'm Zack Scriven, and I'm 26 years old, and I was born into a family that basically did system integration for water distribution, water treatment, primarily like SCADA, automation, PLC programming. So I really very much grew up helping them out. It was a home-based business. I was helping them out like as young as 11, 12 years old. Working on systems like Wonderware. And it wasn't long before I was 17, 18, actually very much delivering full-scale projects, with them. So through the course of that time, I actually always had a side hobby passion of creating videos. So fast forward until a year ago, I ended up quitting. I went to go work for a few other system integrators, and before quitting that to start up Zack Scriven Media, which is, combining my passion of video and my skill set of industrial automation to really fill a void within the market that I saw of like video content within that industry, and kind of be like a niche influencer, niche, however you want to pronounce it, influencer.
Either way works, yeah.
To just kind of do something different. And it's been a year now, and it's been amazing. I've traveled to conferences and events, very much like yourself, interviewing people, doing vlogs, doing my podcast, and then also helping companies tell their story and helping them jump on board with video with a primary focus on LinkedIn, because that kind of was the platform that was exploding at that time with native video.
Yeah.
So I really kind of just jumped in with both feet, and now here we are on IndustrialSage. So something must be working.
Awesome. No, it's good stuff. So, I will say one of the things that you caught my eye, and I think this is a lesson that I think a lot of people can learn when you hear a lot about social selling and all that good stuff, is that, you were very engaged. So I, had seen you, probably months ago, and I'm sure there was a strategy that you may have had, say, hey, I want to get on here or not. But either way, what I think the power of LinkedIn and social and video is being able to get your brand out there and have it where it's not, where it's not super salesy. Now, don't get me wrong. Like there's a right way to do it, and there's a wrong way to do it. There's a lot of wrong ways to do it. And I'll say that, what sort of your approach has been very more like value driven. In other words, instead of just like, hey, I'm gonna, I did a thing on a rant on LinkedIn the other day about like how many requests and stuff I get all the time, and it's like always selling. It's always, and it's like, really, man, just provide some value for 2 seconds, before you like, hey, like buy from me because I'm, whatever. And it's like, really, it's not how it works. I'm so maybe tell me, like walk me through a little bit of that. Like, what do you like?
Yeah, that's I don't know. I guess this kind of goes a little bit deeper to, as an engineer, for a long time, I actually really resented sales. I thought, like, sales, marketing,
Yeah. Like most,
we kind of we're kind of left with a bad taste in our mouth from maybe certain people that haven't done it right. But then I saw a lot of people on LinkedIn talking about storytelling, talking about value. I'm like, what is this all about? Like, I eventually came to fall in love with it. I read Gary Vee's book Crushing It. That really flipped a switch for me, kind of opened my eyes to that world, and just kind of thought of my own behaviors when someone pitches me in the first LinkedIn message. Kind of makes you feel used, it kind of makes you feel like they don't care about you.
Right.
Contrast that to the engagement that you and I have had over the past few months, where I'm commenting on your posts, I'm sharing your stuff, adding value in the comments, and really like your message really helps resonate mine. So it's mutually beneficial.
Sure.
And to that point where that engagement grows enough to where, we're like, hey, let's jump on a show, or, insert that with whatever. If I were selling some sort of product, eventually maybe you might become a customer of mine.
Right.
But just a much more natural relationship based way to do business. And like it's been very successful for the people that are doing it right. So
Exactly. No, so I think, I had another, we've had another episode we recorded, haven't released it yet. We were talking a little bit about, sort of the evolving of of sales and the relationship piece. And, the thing that comes up all the time, especially with a lot of manufacturers, is that, it's, we're 100% relationship driven business, and you can't, we have to sell this way, and it's always about the people, and, this digital, doing all these things over here, it's nice, but the social media thing, it's not, not for us. Like, and I think, I think part of it is that there's a big disconnect, because, and I think you kind of mentioned something before where you said, maybe some of these engineers or whatever have been kind of like, things have been done wrong or not the right way, and they're kind of like freaked out by it, like this isn't good. And things have not been done the best way. But I think the big thing is like, social media is an amazing opportunity to continue to build relationships and cultivate relationships, not just like have the door-to-door salesman who used to be knocking on your door is now knocking on your LinkedIn profile, or that's essentially what it is, right?
Right.
It's interruptive versus what you're talking about. And I think like I love Gary Vee's stuff. I actually have not read his book. I should. Crushing It, and maybe we'll put a link. We can take a look at that. But I think what you're talking about is really just adding value, right? Add value, and he talks about what value, 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 and then the right hook, right? Or the right jab, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's it's super powerful. So like for those who are say, hey, this is kind of interesting, like walk me through a little bit like the power of that. What does that really look like?
Yeah. So touching on your point where people say like, oh, like social media is not for them. That's really not going to be the case. Businesses won't be able to survive if they don't adopt video, if they don't adopt social media. Another thing kind of came to mind is like when Henry Ford, created the automobile.
Yep.
He said if he would have asked, like if he took the same strategy that was working and just applied that to automobiles, he would have, put a motor inside of a horse, right? You can't really just take what was working in the physical world and put that onto the digital world. But it's very much a digital transformation, and it's kind of like a virtual, lobby, I guess. It's a virtual world where you can really grow relationships at scale. You can make personal connections without, personally having to meet them. You and I have never met, but, here we are feeling like we've known each other, and we very much, do know each other through digitally, but
Right.
very much real nonetheless. And I think when you start thinking about it like that, you're going to be putting yourself at a major disadvantage if you're not taking advantage of those opportunities to amplify your reach, get your message out, cultivate those relationships. Your customers are already expecting it. You
Yeah.
look at consumer, tech. Every
Mhm.
time you buy one of these, you're going to watch a few videos before you actually make that purchase.
Right.
And then you go into work and then it's not going to be the same. No, they're going to expect that same experience for manufacturing, for industrial side of tech. So that's really where I saw a huge void in the market.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm curious. Talk to me about you got the influencer hat. What's all that about?
Okay, so I just have a personality. It's kind of being bold, it's me being authentic. It's kind of tongue in cheek. It's kind of funny, but it really is very much true. So I had this crazy idea to go to Rockwell Automation Fair,
Okay.
and that was last year. The event was free, and I was able to travel for free because I fly standby. My fiance is a flight attendant, so very much transparent about that. I'm not flying around in a private jet, or anything like that yet, but I was going to need I was going to need about $500 to pay for my hotel and food and cover my expenses. So I thought, well, what a great way to combine my video and in-person presence at this event by working with a sponsor and put their logo on my hat.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a blank hat. I posted that picture out on LinkedIn, and within an hour, I already had 2 sponsors and they PayPal'd me the money. I got it embroidered, and I showed up at the event. So very much disruptive. I mean, because I'm sure going to one of these events in person is expensive, let alone having a booth and having actual presence there.
Yep.
Now I was able to offer that at such a lower price point. So not only in person, but also through my videos, the hat gets subtly featured within the video content that reaches thousands of people. And it's in a non-obtrusive way
Yeah.
where I'm not saying, hey, like, check out, Flow Software, like, you got to buy their stuff. No,
Right.
it's just like, oh, wait, that's kind of weird. What's that? Let me learn more,
Right.
So that's kind of been growing. And, I've taken that concept through Dubai and South Africa. It hasn't, and a lot of companies have said no. It is a newer concept for industrial side of things again.
Yeah.
But
Totally.
if you look at things like Instagram and kind of fitness and fashion and makeup, like, very much mainstream.
Yeah.
So just trying to apply those similar concepts into, industrial software, industrial manufacturing.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it totally makes sense. I love this. So the thing is just really essentially just doing things differently. And I think there's a lot of companies, a lot of manufacturers are just honestly legitimately just scared of doing something different. But I like how you sort of had the analogy of Henry Ford there, saying if we had taken that thing and just kind of applied it like exactly, you have to have that outside the box thinking. And it's crazy because we're seeing a lot of that when you look at obviously digital transformation is having a massive impact in the industrial, automation, space. I mean, it was big before, but it's, you've got this nexus of, supply chain logistics and the challenge of being able to, like, we need to get things better, faster, cheaper because call it the Amazon effect or whatever. Like, people want their stuff and they want it faster, essentially, really at the end of the day. And so, it's really pushing all this innovation, saying, we need it, we have to have it. And you're seeing that ripple just across the board, into even the sales and marketing approach. And I think where the application, the thing to look at is we have a great opportunity and we have to think differently. Like, maybe here's the box. And this is traditionally how we've thought. How can we go outside that box? I think that's exactly what you're doing. And I love it. Like you mentioned just rolling up to a trade show. Like, I got some sponsors and stuff. I'm going to do things differently. Even like down to like how you're dressed. Like, because I've seen some of the videos and stuff. Like, you're not going in with a suit with a tie and the whatever, right? No, you're going in different, and it's a different approach. And so when the vast majority of all the other people are in suits and whatever, what is that going to do? Like, oh, this is different. You got a camera in your hands, like, oh, okay, wow, this is pretty cool, right? So I think that's awesome. Okay, so what are some things like, I'm a business that's looking at this stuff, saying, like, what could I do today to kind of get started down this road?
Yeah. I mean, I would tell them if they haven't like done any videos, or maybe they've done like a one-off video 4 months ago. I would say just pull out your phone and just start documenting, and just start creating conversation, throwing that out there on LinkedIn. Those raw, authentic videos perform really well. Just as you and I were having a conversation, or you were having a conversation with someone at a trade show. Just think as that same concept, but online. I had this kind of image that really kind of showed the difference, and I called it a physical influencer versus a digital influencer.
Yeah.
I brand myself around that word a little bit, but when you think of someone who's building relationships in a physical capacity, they're very much limited by one-to-one relationship. So
Absolutely.
they're taking one person's hand at a time. They're on the phone with one person at a time. So when you think of a digital, it's a one-to-many relationship. So you can put out one video and reach 1,000 people on LinkedIn. I mean, imagine how long it would take you to talk to 1,000 people.
Exactly.
And you wouldn't be able to do it. So, I mean, who do you think will have an advantage in that scenario?
Right.
So, I mean, that's kind of like the why, but the how is, just pull out your phone and just, put yourself out there, create that conversation, and, you'd be kind of surprised at where it might take you. People talk about it as a journey. It very much is. And I kind of view it as, we talk about digital transformation of industry.
Yeah.
Video is very much a digital transformation of self.
Exactly.
So, you're taking something in the physical world and putting it into the digital world, where you can really multiply your reach and your effect and your income and your impact and your influence and any other acronyms or
Just make all your dreams come true, basically, what you're telling me, right?
Yeah.
So why? So if it's so amazing and it's rainbows and kittens, why is everybody not doing this?
So people are scared. It's different. Actually, there's a connection that reached out to me on LinkedIn the other day, and he's a video confidence coach. So he specializes around that fear that people have of being on a video. And he says it comes down to a natural, like his interpretation of it was like, right now I'm talking to you. I understand that I'm talking to you, but your brain is still living in, 30,000 years ago. Like, it hasn't evolved with the times. So my brain thinks I'm just in a room right now, just talking to myself.
Right.
That fear, that knowledge of that makes my brain feel like I'm like being like dumb or silly. And so it thinks that I'm going to look stupid by talking to myself. I'm going to be crazy.
Yeah.
And the tribe is going to kick me out of the group, which would ultimately lead to my death. Right. That's literally his interpretation of it. I'm like, wow, that kind of does make sense, because you really kind of, once you understand what it is that you're doing, and it's just a practice, I mean, I sucked too at the very
totally.
First.
I'm not totally that you sucked. I mean, the practice thing. Sorry.
Yeah, it's a very much a stepping stone. People look at, they may look at you, they may look at me and be like, wow, I'll never be that slick on camera.
You don't start there. Yeah. Right. No, you're 100% right. And I love that analogy. So I got my pilot's license about a year ago. And so, big goal, like life goal thing. But one of the things that's really interesting is that you have to be trained in case you fly into like the clouds, or they call IMC conditions. So basically it's super cloudy or rainy or whatever. And you don't, right now I can only fly without, I can't fly into clouds. I can fly around them and all that stuff. But if you were get into that situation, which can be very, very dangerous, one of the things that can happen is that your body will, like, if you're in a complete whiteout condition, you look out the windows and it's just clouds, whatever, and your body could tell you, oh, I feel like we're going into a turn, like a left, we feel like we're going this way or that way. And you have to be trained to like ignore that, because you may feel like you're going this way and, up and over to the right. In all actuality, you're going, straight up and over to the left. And it's crazy. You have to look at the instruments, and it can be very dangerous. So it's sort of the same thing. Like what you're talking about here is like you're getting these signals in your head that's fear and I don't know, and you have to just block it and ignore it and focus on, why am I doing this? This is important, and I'm just going to push through, and we're going to do it. But it takes that time and that repetition.
I will say one thing that has helped me is kind of like exposure treatment. So kind of intentionally exposing myself to uncomfortable situations.
Okay, yeah.
To kind of then make it like when we're doing something like right now. I mean, it's a walk in the park compared to doing a vlog in front of hundreds of people at a conference, So if you kind of look at different ways, maybe you do a video at the grocery store, like, hey, see this, you see this coffee right here? Like the company that I sell products that goes to companies that make coffee, right? I sell this with it, and, here it is. And you would never know that behind, these rows of the grocery store, there's manufacturing that touches everything, right? Like what a simple little video, but it would be outside of your comfort zone because people are not used. And honestly, who really cares? Like you got to realize that if someone's just going to walk by, they might think that it's silly. You're never going to see that person again. Like it just does not matter.
Right.
And you focus on your mission and realize that putting yourself through that uncomfortability is going to serve that mission by being able to drive your impact. For me, it was like being able to travel the world, not feel like I was working, being able to have massive impact on the industry.
Yeah.
More so than if I was just working at a 9-to-5 desk job doing one project at a time.
Sure.
Now I can amplify my reach. I can help influence other video content creators within the industry to jump on board, which will then amplify my impact.
Right. Yeah.
Like those are the reasons why I do it, not because it's like comfortable, Like
yeah, exactly.
You got to know why you want to do it, and then it makes doing it that much easier.
Yep. Yeah, you're 100% right. I love it. We do, one of our core values in the company is being comfortable being uncomfortable. It's one of those things like if you don't have those butterflies in your stomach every now and then, maybe not every day, but every now and then or whatever, or on a somewhat timely basis, you get complacent. And then it's like when you're complacent, it's easy. But when you're like nervous about something and you're going to bring your A game to it, and I think it's awesome. You just push yourself through that, and then it's going to get better. And I think what you said about mission is huge, because if there's no why, if there's no purpose, like this is why we're doing this, then it's super easy to be like, oh, screw this, like whatever. It's just not.
Yeah. Or you'll do a few and then you'll give up.
Yeah.
Which then what was the point?
Exactly. Right. No, I love it. So no, these are absolutely some great tips.
That uncomfortability thing though, that's kind of what attracts me to public speaking, because it is very uncomfortable, but I kind of get a thrill out of it. It's almost like, being in the game 7 of the championship, and you're up to bat, and like it's coming down to the wire. You gotta hit it out of the park. You gotta drive that run in, or or you're pitching and you gotta strike out that batter. Like it's a thrill.
Yeah. It's a rush for sure. Absolutely. You're 100% right. No, that's that's pretty cool. I have to say one thing.
If there's any speaking opportunities out there, maybe someone listening, you have an event, needs, someone to speak on, video, Danny, your personal branding, influencing, me.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, well, we're both ready and able to be able to do that.
I have a question.
Yeah, go for it.
Maybe some people might not understand the relationship, the dynamic that we have, because at first glance, it might look like we're somewhat of like competitors. Like we're kind of in the same industry. We kind of do similar things. I want to maybe talk about a little bit about how co-opetition, collaboration is much better than kind of a, kind of scarcity mindset type of view.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that's a great question. So first of all, I feel like because of the information age where we are now, like the idea of the idea of sharing ideas 10 years ago, I feel like was so foreign, and that was like, why in the heck would you do this? I mean, I remember, let's put out these videos about, teaching people about what we do. It's why I remember, why would you do that? Like, you're giving away the secret sauce. You're giving away the information. I think first of all, like that was scary. But several years ago, realizing that 10, 15 years ago, it wasn't that long ago, to be honest, really, is that because of the internet and because of the way that we're sharing information and how quickly it is that instead of holding on to everything right here, that, the way that we sell, which really hasn't completely changed, but the ability of using the internet to be out there, and we can push that message out faster, and be able to share that knowledge, I think that is the real way to win these days. So to answer your question about the whole competitive nature, the reality of it is, first of all, I always feel like you're better together, like you're stronger. The other piece is the reality of it is, how many darn manufacturers and how many darn companies are out there? Do you really think that
More than you can serve, more than I can serve.
exactly more than 100 of us probably could serve? Because the reality of it is, in the state of Georgia, where we're at here, there's 10,000 manufacturers. Wow. Just in the state of Georgia. It's actually a little under, but 10,000. Okay, all right. Even if we said, hey, let's split these or whatever, but you go to the country, you go region, country, the world. The reality of it is there's way more. There's a ton of opportunity out there, and so I think I think the ability to be able to leverage networks too is another huge piece. So we've got a network, you've got a network, and to be able to say, hey, listen, to plug into that thing that you said before, mission. Like if the missions are aligned, and say, listen, the goal is really to be able to build this community, to be able to help people, to be able to make this transition and get out like that. That's what we're doing for, right? We're not, and maybe I'll speak for us, for you guys, like our soul, the sole like goal in the mission isn't to make money, because I think that if that's that's a byproduct, and yes, we need money to operate, absolutely, right. 100%. This is a venture. This is not a charity, right? But the mission being, we want to build this community, be able to help be thought leaders, because the reality of it is, everybody that we have coming through IndustrialSage, like we can't help them all. We can't. They're not a fit. Who might not be a fit for us might be a really good fit for you guys, or maybe if they're a fit for both, fine, whatever. But there's still a tremendous amount of opportunity, and if we're able to help somebody. Like I love getting emails and stuff, people being like, whoa, like, wow, that episode on whatever, on ERP or CRM or whatever it is, that was awesome. It like unlocked some things for us that we were kind of stuck on. That is awesome. I love getting those emails. I love getting that feedback. That's like, okay, cool. We had somebody, sorry, I'm like patting ourselves on the back here, but we had somebody, in their big, they're a large manufacturer. They got a lot of dealers, and they took our insights survey and they said, we like loaded this thing with our meeting to talk to all of our dealers, saying this is what you guys need to be doing. Like look at these insights, look at this, and they built their whole presentation off of that. And they said, oh my gosh, thank you so much for doing this.
You guys are the heroes to them now.
Well, it's like we just want to provide that value. Or we had another company, they said, listen, we have people that are coming into the industry where they're new, they're green, they don't really understand it. And so we're funneling them to your content saying, watch this and this and this and this, because you guys are going to like learn up on this a little bit better. So it's awesome.
Well, and it kind of just to summarize, it sounds like, information in the pre-internet days, information kind of used to be power.
Yeah.
Now information is kind of democratized.
Yeah.
Let's be honest, like, a lot of the stuff that we talk about has already been said before.
Oh, 100%.
It doesn't mean that we shouldn't say it.
Right.
But it's like, it's the deliverer of the information, how it's presented, and the relationship is kind of now more the power. The attention is the currency, the influence, to use my, I don't know if you see, but like, you see that.
Oh, no, I can't. Oh, look, that's focusing. There it is. Okay, 5950. All right.
Well, the in is the LinkedIn badge to kind of,
yeah,
because I love LinkedIn. I think it's a great platform, and I think that any person watching this, if they're not already on LinkedIn creating content, you got to really look at like your business developers, your sales staff, your leadership. They need to be building their personal brands, on LinkedIn primarily, if they're especially in B2B.
Yeah,
they need to be their own influencers. So that's kind of what I want to help get that message out.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's awesome. I get one last question, and then we'll wrap up the segment here. So, what are your thoughts on LinkedIn Live?
I don't know if you saw my post last night, but I think it's amazing. I can't wait to get access. I think the way that they've rolled it out has, I think it's, it kind of, I said this yesterday, was that the way that they've rolled it out has kind of marginalized creators.
Mm-hmm.
For example, I've been creating content on LinkedIn for full time for almost a year now. Been a huge advocate of the platform. I'm wearing LinkedIn on my hat.
Yeah.
And yet I don't have access to live. It's not a huge deal for me. I think I think they should have had a quicker rollout procedure where it hasn't been months, but I'm really excited for it. I'm sure they're doing the best that they can to get it out as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
But the way that they have rolled it out kind of has made it feel like this kind of cliquey, popularity contest, if you will.
Yeah.
It's like you got to know the right person at LinkedIn, and then they'll give you access. But I think that's that scarcity mindset stepping in, and I just got to realize, like, I don't need LinkedIn or I don't need YouTube. Like, I really need to just focus on my mission.
Yeah.
And that's the important part. And those other things are just kind of tools.
Exactly.
To help
Yeah.
drive my mission. And when live comes, I'll jump on it, and we'll see.
Very good. I echo those sentiments exactly, 100%. It's like, come on, what the heck, guys? But it's funny. I mean, they did the same thing with native video. I mean, it was a, hey, we got this coming to some people, and then and it took them like 6 months or whatever to finally. It took us a minute to be able to get it. They did give us access to it a little bit earlier, but I mean, we tried getting LinkedIn Live and. For this, I don't know that we've even heard back from them. We send a thing and they're like, oh, it's going to take weeks maybe or months if we get back. You're like, okay, get it. I totally get it. But when it gets here, it'll get here. It'll be cool. So, Zack.
No excuses, right?
Yeah, right, exactly. We just keep on moving forward. Let's just focus on that mission. I love it. So any parting words you have as we kind of wrap up this episode?
Hey, man. You're preaching to the choir, man. Amen, dude. This has been a great episode. Thank you so much for having me on, Danny. And can't wait to meet in person one day. And best of luck to you and your clients, and the manufacturing industry.
No, well, same to you on all fronts. For those who would love to learn a little bit more about you, what's the best way to learn about you? I'm guessing it begins with an L. That might be one of the ways.
Yeah. LinkedIn.com/in/Zack Scriven, ZACK Scriven, rhymes with driven, or YouTube, Zack Scriven Media, the Zack Scriven podcast. I also have, I talk to anyone on the podcast. The podcast is kind of like my passion project. I talk about astrophysics and meaning of life, and a little bit of automation in there too. So
that's awesome. No, that is awesome. No, listen, Zack, I really appreciate this. This has been it's really been fantastic. I've loved just chatting and just like learning more about like your backstory. I think you had a really great backstory, and just thanks for sharing some of your knowledge and your information. And just how people can be thinking about using video, using LinkedIn, take advantage of these tools, do things differently, not be afraid. This is going to be a great episode. So thank you.
Thanks so much.
Thank you again.
Peace.
All right, take it easy. All right, so another great episode here with IndustrialSage with Zack. Listen, I love everything that Zack is doing, and I should have said this when he was on there. I totally forgot, but man, this guy is cranking out some awesome content. And a big thing, and we didn't touch on it, and I forgot about it. It's all right. But, it doesn't have to be like this super high-level produced stuff. I think that the value that he's really bringing to the table, he's got a lot of value, but one of those pieces that not being afraid to do it, he's got, you've got a darn HD camera in your pocket, and it's just sharing content. And that could be at the grocery store, in the car. Don't drive and do that, but in the car, at the airport, whatever. All these little moments. And I'll be 100% honest with you, I struggle with it, even though we're doing this every week and whatever. Like just the ability, that idea of being able to do that. I think doing it intentionally, you have some massive opportunities there. So take a look at what some of the stuff that Zack's doing. You can take a look at his stuff, and I think there's a lot that you can learn from it, and start be thinking, hey, this is what we need to be thinking about doing. And dare I say, implement some of it. So anyways, that's all I got for you today. Thanks so much for watching. If you have any questions, we'd love to answer them for you on the show, industrialsage.com/questions. If you're on the podcast, we'd love a review. Social media, hey, share the love. And I think that is it. Oh yeah, if you're not on our email list, you should probably you should probably get on it. It's pretty cool. And there's a lot of great content that we're not sharing, you're not hearing or seeing on the show that you can have access to. It's going to help you be a better sales and marketing professional in that manufacturing industrial company. So do that. And I will catch you next week. I'm Danny Gonzalez. Thanks for watching Industrial Sage.
Dun, 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 dun.
That's it, yeah.